Okay guys, welcome back to my channel, and I finished The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, which of course is the second book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And, once again I'm saying trilogy because it was published on three separate dates, so that's a trilogy to me. I, for one, really enjoyed this book. I like how it expands on the role, the world of Middle-earth, and develops the side characters. It's not just Frodo who's the main character. We also have several different points of views in book two, which I find really fun, like Aragorn, Merry, Pippin. We get to see a lot more about them in this book, which I enjoy. The book's split up into two parts, though. The first part is kind of like Aragorn and Merry and Pippin's story, and then the second part is Frodo and Sam's story, which I don't know. I like that it's split up, but I feel like it would have helped if it was in chronological order, similar to Game of Thrones, and would kind of go back and forth, because it feels like it's like a lot of chapters in a row of the same stuff, and I feel like if it was rearranged to be chronological order, it would have helped the pace more. But all in all, I did enjoy it. So let's just start off. So the all the orcs are sent by Saruman to attack the Fellowship, and Boromir kind of gets his redemption after what he did at the end of Book One to Frodo, trying to steal the ring. He redeems himself by trying to protect Merry and Pippin, but he is killed in the process. And I really like the part, his dying scene. It just you feel really sad for him, and you could tell that he's a very honorable man, and that also exemplifies the hardships of the ring, because the ring, it could turn the most nice, noble, honest people into monsters, and I like how Boromir was redeemed at the end, and didn't fall full into ring madness like, say, Gollum did. And these kind of sad, tender moments in Lord of the Rings kind of set it apart. It's not just some silly fantasy series with goblins and orcs and trolls. There's actually, there's depth to these characters and emotions to it. So I really appreciated that. Well, the orcs are taken care of by Billy Butchell, aka Elmo, and he saves them, and Merry and Pippin kind of go to the forest where they make friends with this tree named Treebeard, and I really empathize with Treebeard's struggle. Like y- just the way he describes the devastation caused to his people. It's very detailed and traumatic, and I feel like, one of the things the books do have above the movies, though I prefer the movies for its epic scope. Something the book does is I really like the tree scenes, the tree build scenes, because it just describes it in much more detail, and you feel more emotionally attached to these trees. Oh, also Gandalf is still alive. So Gandalf, he killed the Balrog at the end of book one, and he was sent back to complete his mission by God, or whatever God is in the Middle Earth universe. I think he mentioned it, but I forgot. But anyway, he is Gandalf the White. And, just like Obi-Wan, if you strike him down, he'll be more powerful than you could ever imagine. Except in this case, he actually is, because when Obi-Wan dies, he's just kind of a lifeless ghost. But Gandalf dies, he's a powerful wizard, now equally as powerful as Saruman. Well, anyway, they get to Rohan, and Theoden, King Theoden, has been kind of corrupted by Grima Wormtongue. First of all, how could you trust a guy whose last name is Wormtongue? Um, it's a little suspicious, would you say? Wormtongue's basically the Peter Pettigrew of Lord of the Rings. Just kind of a sniveling politician who just tries to weasel his way around. A little bit like Littlefinger too, except I feel like Littlefinger, uh, I don't know. They're both pretty evil. But anyway, he made Theoden into a decrepit old man, basically, our president. But Gandalf's able to free him from his sleepy slumber. So he sends his men to Helm's Deep, where they are going to fight Saruman with the help of Treebeard. Very epic. So basically, the trees team up with the Rohirrim to take down the orcs, and Gandalf is able to strip Saruman of his powers like Aang did to Fire Lord Ozai, and now he's all weak and shriveled up. Also, Pippin, so Wormtongue throws the Planeteer at Pippin. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Um, so he throws the Planeteer at Gandalf, but Pippin picks it up and he looks at it, and it turns out, that's the Eye of Sauron now. Now Sauron knows where they are. But Pippin doesn't. Well, Sauron knows what they're thinking, but Pippin doesn't really know what the fuck's going on. So Sauron also doesn't know what's going on, and Gandalf takes Pippin to hide him in Gondor, so Pippin doesn't find out anything. And that's the end of the first part of the book, and then the second part is focused on Frodo and Sam. And I gotta say, I enjoyed the first half of the book better than the second half. I don't know, it just felt like there was more going on. Though I do love Frodo and Sam, and this is where we meet Gollum, who's also a very interesting character. Um, so they meet Gollum, and Gollum's like, "Ooh, I'll please you. You could be my master." Um, and he wants to guide him to Mordor, but he's secretly planning on betraying them and stealing the ring. Well, okay, so one of them, Smeagol, wants to help Frodo, but Gollum wants to steal the ring because Gollum's the corrupted part of Smeagol. Very interesting stuff. Also, I said this in the last book, in The Hobbit, but I'm listening to these read by Andy Serkis, and that really helps the experience because whenever he goes into Gollum mode, it's terrifying. That's just perfect right there. I love it. So, the later captured by Faramir, who is Boromir's brother, and he is like, I don't want the ring, which kind of shows that maybe he is stronger than his brother, even though his evil dad doesn't think so. So basically, Gollum is having a lot of inner conflict. He's like, should I kill them or should I lead them to Mordor? And basically, he has like the worst compromise with himself ever. And he's like, I'm gonna lead them to a spider, an evil spider named Shelob, so she could eat them. And I think they switched this around because I remember the movies. I mean, I know I watched them pretty close together, but I remember this happening in Return of the King. So maybe Jackson switched it around. I can't really remember. But basically, the spider captures Frodo. It's about to eat him, and thankfully, Sam is able to rescue him. And I love that chapter where he has to, he thinks Frodo's dead, and he has to grapple with that fact, and along with, the fact that he would have to continue the quest alone. Just a very heartbreaking chapter because you could tell how much Sam loves Frodo and how he really wants to be there for him, but at the same time he has to continue on the quest. And he finds out that Frodo is still alive. And that's just a beautiful chapter, but also it ends on a cliffhanger, um, which, I'm not exactly angry about because I know how the story ends because I've seen the movies, but I think it is a good cliffhanger to end the book on. So yeah, I loved it. I thought, you know, it worked as both the middle chapter, the middle part of a single book, and as a full book in its entirety, like book two, it worked as that. Because it did kind of, have a beginning, middle, and end. a little bit in itself, which, made it enjoyable because I am kind of breaking up this read through with some Sherlock Holmes books in between, as you may be able to tell. But like I said, I really enjoy this book because it really goes into development for Merry and Pippin and Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas. I love the friendship between Gimli and Legolas, how they come from different backgrounds and the races don't exactly get along, but they work through that and they fastly become best friends. Now I think it's a little bit more gradual in the movies than it is in the books because in the books it seems like they kind of hit it off right away. But I kind of like both versions. And similar to the Harry Potter books, the Lord of the Rings kind of gets darker as it goes along, but it never gets rid of that friendship, the themes of friendship, and just camaraderie, and all the things that made the first book very enjoyable. There's a certain warmth to Tolkien's writing that I really like. And I think I'm gonna avoid comparing it to A Song of Ice and Fire because they're very different. They're very differently written, and I don't know. It's just A Song of Ice and Fire. I feel like they have less redeemable characters, so it's much more complex than Lord of the Rings. And I feel like it's not fair to compare them anyway because Song of Ice and Fire isn't finished and probably never will be finished. I, Watch it, but by the time this gets released, The Winds of Winter is finally announced. But, reading these books, you could definitely see how cinematic they are. They definitely made for really good movies. And considering these books came out in the 50s, I'm surprised it took them over 40 years to make the movies. But just reading the pages, you could just vividly picture what's going on in your mind. And I think pretty much any book that gives you that experience would make a good movie. So that is pretty much all I have to say on The Two Towers. I still like the movies better just because of the music and the locations and just the visuals and the acting. I don't know. I like the book, but I feel like the movie makes me feel more emotions, if that makes sense. So let me know down in the comments what you thought of The Two Towers. Do you like the books or the movies better? Let me know why. And I'll be back with my Return of the King review, probably in either late July or early August, because I'm reading it right now. I'm not that far into it. I'm only like two chapters, but it took me about 3 weeks to read this one, so I'm guessing it'll be about the same for Return of the King. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.